So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live people having a natter. Thursday's live shows. It's recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. And as you can see, that Amazon gremlin has struck again. I had a wonderful Christmas voucher from a wonderful fib, which enabled me to buy the new full set of Chameleons. Now I think they've been out a little while, I'm a bit behind the times. I did have the smaller set a couple of years ago, but I gave them to my eldest to do, she's doing illustration and animation, and I thought they would be perfect, the smaller set, because she can carry them in her backpack to college every day instead of carrying hundreds and hundreds of markers. And I'm sure she'd kind of like to play with these as well. So the other thing I managed to buy is the full set of the toppers. So I've had a bit of a play with them and I've watched a couple of YouTube videos, but they basically allow you to go from one colour to the other. But what you can also do is still have your tonal values as well. So you can go light to dark, or you can go dark to light, or you can go light, dark, light, different colour, light, dark, light, back to the original colour, light, dark, light. And you can do that by either putting the topper colour on top of your pen and then the blendable solution in between each colour change. So you could go on and on forever, and basically you're just building up layers on the little bullet nib. I think the best for that is, sorry, not the bullet nib, is the brush nib. This is the one that absorbs the most. I use the bullet nib for fine detail, and I use it as an ordinary marker to do the background. So these arrived on Tuesday evening, so I had a bit of a play while watching TV, so I wasn't concentrating too much on what I was doing. But again, I do like that you get some really nice effects and you don't have to kind of worry about it. The pens do quite a lot of work for themselves. Always test on, this is the marks, every single blend, every single tonal blend, I did a little mark first. And I do the same when I do paints as well. It's a good habit to get into. This is the watercolour one, again testing out. Oopsie, sorry, we have a friend. We have a furry friend to help us. He'll have time out in a minute if he doesn't settle down. So we have a Bungle. Hi Bungle. You're going to play with it? Not going to play with the new pens? No. No. My daughter taught him to play with pens and now he's obsessed with sticks pens. Oops, let's have a look at your nose, darling. Have a look at your nose. Oh, we're still a little bit snotty, aren't we? When he plays, he gets a little bit snotty. But that should clear up in the next few days with his antibiotics. I'm not going to stroke you all day, Bungle. This is an art show, not a bungle show. This is not a bungle show. This is my space. Never work with animals. You're going to do this every single day now, are you? Every single video you're going to do this? I do think so. Sorry, guys. Yes. No, they're mine. You're not going to play with those. So back to our pens. I'll give him time out in a second. He may go to sleep. Forgotten where we were now, Bungle, didn't we? Because you interrupted. No, cute. One thing I did do, whoopsie, I was playing with that first. We're going to put those there. Thank you. So last night I was playing with this one. So I did the colour blending tones as normal, and then I used the bullet end to do the edging. And I didn't do any blending, all I did was just touch a little bit of yellow and then the green in the inside. But because it was yesterday, have you just put a hole in that? Thank you. Because it was yesterday, I have a very short memory. He's found his tail now. So I took a photograph of the colour ends so I'd remember what colours I would have when I came back to do this. So let's just put little Misty to time out. Come on. Thank you. Time out. Thank you. I am technically in his room, so I'm the guest really. So I did work on the back of a sketchbook just in case it went through, because I'm doing a lot of blending and a lot of tonal things. So I've got a couple of sheets of photocopy paper and my little tester, and that tester was from there. So what you could do is you could put your numbers, when you're first starting, you could put here 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then you'd have a bit of and you could put that with this. So when you want to look at this and get these kind of marks, you know how many seconds you are. Now I was quite lucky, I hadn't done a lot of marker work. We used markers in the late 70s, early 80s when I was at graphic design, but it was a long time ago, and we just used them as a very graphic kind of one colour next to the other colour, not an over blending, but not too much blending. So I was quite lucky, because if you use markers in the traditional way, you've got to completely rethink how you use them. But as I say, luckily my daughter had never used markers either, and she did need some for university for this particular course she's doing. So for illustration and graphics, it's fantastic. So I finished this page off, and then what I thought I might do is, I think this is quite cute, and it's got that monarch butterfly that I think this one's cinnamon. I think it's number BR3 cinnamon. So the other thing I can do is I can actually write the numbers down that I've used, and then I can use them for another time. So if I come back to this in about a year's time, I won't remember what colour this was. Now it's quite easy, especially if I had this particular piece of paper with me. It's like a colour guide for this page. So what I was thinking of is when and if I get my iPad, what I could do is take a photograph of this, and then take a photograph of this. And then I've got some kind of image and a reference just by digitally, rather than having to make a book, because making books for me at the moment is a bit of a no-no. So the other thing I do is I buy the Bennett Klein colour books online, because I found some photocopy paper that's a little bit thicker than ordinary printer paper, and that allows you just that little bit extra strength. So apologies, because these have got all mixed up. So I've got dragons, and I've got wild. I think this might be from wild. That's obviously from the dragons. So that's what I wanted to do. One thing you have to do is make sure you move everything away, because it is difficult to keep from going through. So I normally have 2 or 3 even cheap pieces of photocopy paper, and I do turn the page around. You have to turn the page around because of the angle that you need for a lovely blend. So if I was doing this blend, I'd have to turn the page like this to get that lovely blend and tone going from light to dark. But I'm going to finish off this edge first, and then we'll go on to the flowers to show how to blend. And then I may have attempt to play with these beautiful babies. So these are called toppers, and what you do with these is you attach one of these to the original pen colour, and you can have a seamless tone from one colour to another. But there are a lot of videos out there to show you how to do that. So the best thing I did, I took the photographs. I know which two colours I'm using. I probably will get rid of all this, apart from that one. And so you have to be careful what's underneath it, because it will go through. But I think most markers would do that anyway. Oh, hi Jane, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So for this particular one, I've used Dark Sage GR2 and Mellow Yellow YO2. And all I've done is I've used the bullet end, and I have quite pulley hands, but they're easy to pull apart. And I've just put a little bit of, does not look right. Perhaps it's me. It looks a bit darker, that. How strange. So I'll zoom in a second. Just a little bit of yellow on the edge of every curved leaf. And then I've used the bullet end of the YGR2. Now, I didn't have my hand guards on yesterday, so I've got to learn to redraw again with a metal bar on the wrist. Oh yes, that's the right colour. And that's all I did. Really simple bit of marker work in the traditional way. So you've got these markers as a traditional green. So I put the yellow one on first. And I didn't really do any blending. Just touched a bit of the yellow. Just on the edge. Now I did actually do all the yellow first. I did quite a lot of the yellow first. And then and the bullet tip allows you to get quite fine detail. And then if you can just gently swish into the yellow, you have kind of a mid-tone. But obviously it's not a seamless one. But it's quite nice for it's quite nice for the edge of something, the boundary, not the boundary, so just zoom in and you can see how we're doing. So I thought I would do a little bit of a different angle today. Just see if that's in focus. Let's see if that one's in focus. So I should do this little leaf here. But this will get very boring because I'm just using two colours, so I'll just do this for a couple of minutes. Oops, and then I can actually put that back into that. So again, turn it round so that I know that this is the bullet end. And just touch the tips. Of every curl, and oops, yes, I do that one as well. And I do love the fact that the pens are right next to you. I thought I'd try a different camera angle so you could see what I was doing, and it wasn't too uncomfortable, because you've got to be comfortable when you're colouring, because sometimes you want to do it for quite a long time and you really want to be comfortable. So that's just doing a very boring edge, but it looks quite effective using them as a traditional marker. So again, this one, just touching the edge, and because you have that lovely point on that bullet edge, it's quite nice to use it. Oops, sorry, we have a... It's very vocal as our bungle. It's quite a nice flower on that one. So you could do all the yellow first, or you could just do a little bit, depending how you work. Again, you find I want to turn that now so that I can get a nice angle. And obviously I don't need to test because I'm using these as a straight traditional marker. So that's quite nice. You can use them on the border as a traditional marker. Now I did like to do the green over the yellow, but if you didn't want to put the top back on, you can just remember to go the green is. So you can work whichever way around you want to. I do tend to turn all mine around because I like the brush tip at the other end, so I find that's just an easier way to work. So this is just using them in the traditional way. And I did use the baby blue on the water, but it was very pale. I don't know if it'll pick it up, but there is a difference. The baby blue is very, very, very pale. So that's just using the marker for a border in the traditional way. Oopsie. So I shall finish that while I'm watching TV because it's not very taxing. I'll start this one. And it's got a bit crease, but it's only a practice one. So this one has kind of got the grayscale, and then it has kind of a pale background as well. So this is the, I forgot what little creature that is, but it has a monarch butterfly. So I did this one the other night, so they arrived the other day, and I managed to find a nice blend for a butterfly. So I've had a practice, and I know if I want dark, if I want lighter, if I want a lot of light. I like this particular little bit here, so I never let it get back to its original dark colour. I always kept it pale, and I did the same with this butterfly. Only did I use the deep edge, the true colour, for the body, and I kind of like that. But there's no reason why you can't go back in and do more work. But I say that was a practice. So I used cinnamon, which is BR3. Sorry, my little kitten is being very vocal today. And when they arrive, they're the other way around. The bullet tip is at this end. But I kind of like this. And I always put the top on top. I lost one the other day. So of course it took a bit of a batting with this particular brush. But I like the brushes when they get a little bit used. So we count... So we've got six seconds there. Oh, it wasn't touching. You see, that's why you always put it on the marker, because it wasn't touching. And I don't like to force them on, but what you can do is twist until you can see them kiss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, apologies for that, I know everybody can count. So again, I kind of like that, but it's not the palest. So 1, so I did 8 there. Oh, it might be this brush. So the monarch butterfly, I like to go dark to light, so I'm going to do that one first. Again, you've got to be comfortable. So on this one I did dark to light, and the other one I did the darkest in the middle. And I like that one the best, so darkest in the middle to pale. So you just start and keep going. So that wasn't much of a blend, that, so I'm going to do it for 10 next time. Test. So I got a really nice blend that time. But I think that's something to do with the tip. Eventually you get where you don't need to count out loud. So this one looks quite nice. Have a lovely seamless blend, and I might not quite seamless, but it is a small space that. Now this is a slightly bigger space to colour, so I've left it slightly longer. So again, go across, you've got to be comfortable. So if I turn that round, see I had a nice blend on there. Hi Kingo, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So again, you push this. There's lots of, you push it till they kiss. Now some want to be pushed right on and some don't. And turn it round so you're working away from yourself. You need to be comfortable. And your page needs to be able to turn. Again, always do the test. And again, it missed it. I must have missed it. Because it's a small space, I'm going to have a go with the bullet end. So again, you twist it and until they kiss. And then we'll just have a test. So I'll do this one on here. That was quite a nice pale one. The bullet tip works well on a smaller space. That was a very pale one, so I do like the pale ones. In this cinnamon, it's quite a nice colour. And you just kind of pick what you're doing now. If you want to do that a little bit darker, we could go from that one right to the colour. So I've gone from there down to there, so that's darker. So you can do that. You can use a pale for the top of the wing and darker for the bottom. So you can get quite a lot of different effects. And our fairy friend's back again. So here, a very pale, and then this one. To go dark. Sorry, I'm just laughing at my little boy. He's such a clumsy boy. So this is a very pale.